The Krell Empire had conquered many planets across the stars. They were proud, powerful, and fearless. No one had ever stopped them. They crushed every species they met. So, when they heard about Earth, they thought it would be easy. But Earth had a strange history. Long ago, other alien empires tried to attack Earth. The Zarn, the Vorkans, even the mighty Drael sent ships, but none came back. No signals, no survivors, only silence. One message was found floating in deep space, scratched into a damaged escape pod. Do not go to Earth, it watches. But the Krell did not believe in ghost stories. High General Zorak laughed when his officers showed him the warnings. They were weak. Earth is a small, old planet with no space fleet, no danger. His advisors said the humans had not expanded into the galaxy, still lived only on Earth. They did not build warships. They had no colonies. To the Krell, humans looked like ants waiting to be crushed, so Zorak gave the order. 100 Krell warships jumped into Earth's orbit. Each ship was full of weapons and soldiers. They had plasma cannons, walkers, drones, and bombs. It was more than enough to conquer 10 planets. But Earth looked strange. The ships found no human fleet, no satellites, no warning signals. Earth just floated silently, blue and green under the stars. From space, it looked peaceful. It's peaceful. The first team landed near a place called New York. They expected resistance. But the city was empty. No humans, no cars, no animals. Shops were open, but no one was inside. Hot coffee still sat on cafe tables, as if people had just disappeared. Commander Varn of Red Squad reported back, "The city is dead. No bodies. No blood. Just silence." Then the signal cut off. Zorak thought it was a technical problem. He sent another team to Tokyo. Same result. Empty city. Signal lost. No answers. In 4 hours, 5 squads vanished. The Krell began to worry, but Zorak stayed proud. This is human trickery. They are hiding like cowards. He ordered more troops down. Heavy units, tanks and mechs. Thousands of soldiers. They spread across Earth. Every city told the same story. Empty, quiet, untouched. No fire, no war, just ... gone. Then strange things started. Soldiers began to see things, people from their past, walking down the street. Some saw dead family members calling their names. Others heard voices inside their heads. One soldier screamed before his signal ended, "The sky is watching." Us, on the orbiting command ship, strange errors started too. Systems shut down. One ship disappeared from radar. Another reported a black shape moving across the stars, faster than light. Then they received a signal. It was not human, it was old. From an ancient race called the Draven, a warning message. Do not touch Earth. It has become something else. A planet that remembers. A mind that thinks. Zorak was silent for the first time. The science officer spoke quietly. We scanned Earth. The planet has strange energy. It reacts to thought, to fear. It's alive, Zorak growled. Planets do not live. But then the command ship shook. Hull alarms screamed, but there was no enemy ship. No weapons fired. The outer wall of the ship began to rot, turning to dust, like it had aged 1,000 years in seconds. Officers ran. Lights flickered. A voice echoed through the ship, calm and cold. You should not have come. One by one, Krell ships began to vanish. No noise, no battles, just silence. On the ground, soldiers ran, but they had nowhere to go. The city shifted, streets changed, buildings moved. Some men turned around and found no way back. Others just disappeared. Zorak stood alone on his dying ship, watching Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful, calm, beautiful. But now, he understood. It was not weak. It was waiting. And now it had woken up. His final words were quiet. Now I know why no one comes back alive. The Krell soldiers still on Earth were scared. These were not weak warriors. They had fought monsters, robots, and deadly space storms. But this was something they had never seen before. There was no enemy to shoot, no bombs to dodge, No blood, no bodies. Just strange whispers, strange feelings, and empty cities that seemed to move. Captain Dravik led a team of 20 soldiers through the ruins of London. The city looked perfect, clean streets, tall buildings, no damage. But the silence was heavy. Every step echoed too loud. Suddenly one soldier froze. His name was Zarnok. He pointed to a window. "Did you see that?" He whispered. Everyone turned, weapons ready. There was nothing there. They moved closer. Inside the building, they found a family sitting at a table, man, woman, and child. But something was wrong. Their skin was too pale. Their eyes didn't blink. Dravik gave the order. Scan them. The scanner beeped once, then burned out. Before anyone could react, the figures at the table turned to dust. The wind inside the room blew the dust away. A soldier screamed, "This place is cursed." The ground shook. A deep sound came from below the earth, like a giant heartbeat. Boom. Far above in orbit, only 7 Krell ships were left. The rest were gone without battle, without warning. On the main ship, Last Science Officer Ralvek watched the data screen. The planet's energy was rising. Something deep underground was waking up. He turned to his commander. "Earth is not just alive, it is remembering everything. Every attack. Every invader." The Krell commander said nothing. His claws shook. Ralvek continued, "This is not human technology. This is something older, something deeper. Earth has learned. It copies minds, it stores thoughts, and it protects itself now." Another officer shouted, "Look." A wave of light came from Earth's surface. It was not fire, not a weapon. It looked like memories, millions of voices, images, feelings, all rising into space. The command ship shook. Lights went out. Crew screamed. Back on the ground, Dravik's team tried to escape the city, but the streets had changed. Buildings they passed minutes ago were gone. A river now cut across the road where nothing was before. It was like the city was moving, or thinking. Suddenly, one soldier dropped his gun and smiled strangely. "I saw my mother," he whispered. "She was alive. She called me home." Dravik pulled him back. "That's not real. Keep moving." But the soldier stepped into the shadow of a building and vanished. One by one, the others began hearing voices. Some laughed, some cried, some shouted at things that weren't there. Dravik shouted into his cums, "Is anyone left?" "Anyone." Only static replied. The captain fell to his knees, alone. He looked up at the sky. The stars were gone. Only the planet above him remained silent, calm, and full of memory. In orbit, Commander Zune tried to send a final message to the Krell homeworld. But before he could press send, a figure appeared on the screen. It was a human woman dressed in white. She stood in a green field, smiling softly. Behind her were thousands of faces, some human, some alien, some Krill. She spoke, "This is Earth. You were warned." Then the screen went black. The ship lost all power. In his last moment, Zune realized the truth. Earth was not a planet anymore. It was a guardian, a mind, a memory, and it never forgot. Captain Dravik sat under the broken sky, holding his helmet in shaking hands. His team was gone. The city behind him, London, no longer looked the same. The buildings had melted into smooth towers. Roads had changed direction. Trees were growing. Where steel once stood, nothing made sense anymore. He was the last Krell on the ground. He pressed his communicator, but it only hissed with static. No answer. No sound from his command ship. No signals in the sky. Only silence. He looked up. Stars were gone. Only Earth and its pale blue light remained. He wasn't sure how many hours had passed. Time felt strange here. Sometimes the sun blinked like a light. Sometimes the shadows moved the wrong way. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the air. It wasn't loud. It wasn't scary. It was calm. It spoke in his own language. "Why are you still here?" Dravik stood up fast, gun ready. "Who said that?" "Show yourself." No one came. The voice returned. You were warned. You were told not to come, but you didn't listen. I don't believe in ghost stories, Dravik shouted. I came to fight, to win. The voice paused. There is no war here. It's only memory, only truth. Then the ground under him changed. It rippled like water. He stepped back, but too late. He was pulled down, not into darkness, but into light, high above. The last Krell command ship floated in orbit. Only 3 officers remained. They had sealed themselves inside the command bridge. Outside, the ship was quiet. Too quiet, no systems worked, no doors opened. The engines were dead. Officer Krellin, the youngest, stared at the star screen. Commander, look. The star screen flickered and Earth's surface zoomed in on its own. No one touched the controls. It showed them a memory. They saw the first. Alien invasion many centuries ago. A race called the Valek had landed on Earth. The humans had fought, but they were weak back then. The Valek destroyed cities, but then something happened. A storm, a pulse. The humans changed. They began to glow with strange light. The Valek screamed as their ships melted from the inside. The screen changed again. More races came over the centuries. Each time, Earth destroyed them, but not with weapons, with fear, voices, with illusions. Earth turned their minds against them. Earth learned. The commander stepped back. This planet ... is not normal. It absorbs memory. It becomes smarter after every attack, Krellin whispered. It's waiting for us to die, so it can remember us too. Suddenly, the lights turned red. A countdown appeared on the Walton seconds. No, the commander screamed. Shut it down. It's too late. The screen lit up once more. A Krell mother sat with her child in a dark room. The child said, "Where is father?" The mother cried. Went to Earth and never came back. The countdown ended. The ship broke apart, quietly. No fire, no sound. Just pieces of metal floating into space. Dravik opened his eyes. He was not dead. He stood in a green field. The air was clean. Soft wind moved the grass. The sky above was blue and peaceful. Far away he saw a tree with strange glowing leaves. A human woman stood beside it. She looked at him kindly. "Where am I?" Dravik asked. "You are in the memory," she said. "It's a place where all things that touched Earth remain." "Is this death?" "No," she said. "It is truth. You came here with war in your heart, but Earth gave you silence so you could hear yourself." Dravik felt something warm in his chest. Not pain, not fear, just understanding. The woman turned to leave. "You may stay, or you may return. But if you return, you must carry the message." "What message?" She looked back. "Earth is not yours. Earth is not weak. Earth remembers." Back in deep space, a small Krell scout ship picked up a strange signal, a whisper, a voice in static. It repeated the same words over and over. "Do not come to Earth. It is alive. It never forgets." The Krell Empire received the message. But would they listen? Captain Dravik walked through the glowing field, still alive, still breathing, but not the same. He was no longer holding his weapon. The heavy armor on his body was gone. Earth had taken it. Or maybe it never existed at all. Everything around him was too real. The colors were sharp. The air was fresh, almost sweet. He heard birds, wind, and soft music like the world was speaking to him without words. He followed the glowing path, unsure where it led. Behind him, the woman in white was gone. Ahead, the land changed. The green field faded into dry, cracked ground. Trees bent like they were whispering secrets to each other. The wind turned cold. Then he saw Iton opening in the soil. A large hole, round and smooth, like a mouth. It wasn't there a moment ago. A voice echoed again, soft but clear. "The mind is deep. The truth lies below." Dravik didn't want to go in, but something pulled him. Not with force, but with memory. He stepped into the hole. The walls glowed. As he walked, it's not with light, but with pictures, moving images made of smoke and dust. He saw battles. Alien ships falling from the sky, cities burning, humans standing together, refusing to run. Then he saw Earth changing. The planet began to feel. It remembered every enemy, every war, every death. It did not forget. It did not forgive. In a distant part of the galaxy, a council of the Krell Empire met in a dark room. Holograms showed the faces of the Empire's leaders, bruised, frayed. The signal from Earth was still repeating. Do not come. Earth is alive. High Chancellor Varek slammed his fist on the table. What nonsense is this? A planet. Cannot think, an old warlord replied. But the signal came from one of our own. A soldier, a captain. It was his voice. Some wanted to send more fleets. Others said no. But one thing was clear. Empire had lost contact with 100 warships, and no one had returned. Fear began to spread underground. Dravik reached a wide-open space, a massive cave with walls, made of crystal and stone. In the center was something. Alive, it looked like a root, thick, pulsing, glowing softly. It spread across the cave like a brain made of tree roots, growing deep into the earth. It was not man-made. It was the planet itself. The voice spoke again. This is Earth's mind. It grew with the humans. It woke when they were attacked. It remembers all who came to harm them. Dravik stepped closer. His hands shook. Why are you showing me this? He asked. Because you are the last, and you still have a choice. He saw faces inside the Rutelian faces. Vorkins, Zarn, Drail, and even Krell, all the enemies Earth had faced. Their memories were inside the planet now, trapped, studied, never forgotten. Dravik dropped to his knees. I didn't know. I didn't understand. The voice was gentle now. You do. At the Krell Council, panic grew. One ship had returned. It crashed into a moon near the homeworld. No crew, no life. Only one thing left inside. A single sentence, burned into the metal wall, Earth remembers. Now the Krell leaders were silent. They realized the truth. This was not a war they could win. It never was. Back beneath the soil, the root pulsed once more. Dravik stood slowly, felt lighter, like something inside him had changed. He looked up. At the crystal ceiling, the voice whispered one last time, Go, carry the truth, warn the stars. Light wrapped around him, and then it was gone. Far away in deep space, a small pod appeared near a neutral station. Inside was a single Krell soldier, alive, eyes wide open, heart beating. It was Captain Dravik. He stepped out of the pod, carrying no weapons, only words. The message spread quickly, planet to planet, system to system. Do not go to Earth. It has become more than a planet, it thinks. It sees. It never forgets. Some listened, some laughed. But Earth was watching. News of Captain Dravik's return spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. He was the first Krell soldier to survive Earth. His story shocked the powerful races. He told them Earth was not just a world, it had become something different. Alive, it watched, it remembered. It protected itself. Many didn't believe him. Some thought he had gone mad. But there was fear in his voice. Fear that was real. Still in the dark corners of space, others listened. Not just the Krell, not just the humans, but the first ones. They were older than memory, older than stars. They had once ruled the galaxy long before humans ever walked on Earth, and long ago, they had also visited Earth. But they never returned until now, in a secret part of space. Hidden in a nebula, an ancient ship opened its eyes. The ship was not made of metal. It was made of stone, bone, and time. It had no engines. It moved through thought. Inside, the first ones woke. They were not like other life. They were tall, thin, and glowing. Their eyes held the memory of 1,000,000 years. They spoke without sound. One of them whispered, "The seed we planted has grown." Another said, "Earth is awake." The others tried to kill it, but it changed. The leader of the first ones, called the Rememberer, nodded slowly. We must return, not to fight, but to witness what our creation has become. And so, for the first time in eons, the first ones turned toward Earth, back on the Krell homeworld. Captain Dravik stood before the High Council again. He was no longer afraid. "I saw Earth's mind," he said. "It knows every attack, every death.
Ass.
It's not just defending humans, it has become part of them." One council member asked, "Are the humans controlling it?" Dravik replied, "It is with them. It feels what they feel. If they are attacked, it reacts. If they fear, the planet prepares." Another asked, "Can it be destroyed?" Dravik looked down. "No. If you strike it, it will remember you forever." Just then, a new signal arrived at the Krell Command Center. Not from Earth, not from any known species. It was old, very old. The signal spoke in one word across all languages. "We are returning." Back on Earth, deep beneath the soil, the voice of the planet whispered again. It knew what was coming. It had felt this energy before, long ago. When humans were still in caves, the first ones had come. They had touched the Earth, changed it, planted something in its heart, something that grew, something that waited now. They were coming back. But Earth had changed. It was no longer a child. It was a memory, a shield, a mind of its own. The first one's ship entered Earth's system silently. No alarms, no weapons. It stopped above the planet. The ship pulsed once like a heartbeat. A signal reached Earth's surface, not through sound, but through thought. "We have returned, what you are." The ground split open in silence. Not from force, but from permission. The same glowing roots Captain Dravik had seen rose from the soil, reaching toward the sky. They pulsed with light, with memory, with life. Then came the vision. All across the galaxy. Anyone listening, human, alien, friend, or foe, saw what Earth had become. They saw wars from the past. Children crying in broken cities, animals hunted, forests burned. They saw the planet wounded, again and again. But they also saw something else. Unity. Humans holding each other after disaster. Alien refugees accepted old. Enemies forgiven love. Pain, fear, hope. Earth had taken it all and made something new. The first ones watched. The rememberer spoke. "It is more than we dreamed. It has chosen its own path. It is no longer ours." The ship turned. They did not land. They did not destroy. They bowed and left Earth. Grew quiet again, but not asleep. Never asleep. It had seen its makers return, and even they showed respect. In deep space, many now understood, Earth was not a battleground. It was a message. And the message was simple. I remember everything. The message was clear. Earth remembers. The first ones had returned. They had bowed to the planet and left without harm. It was a sign, a warning, a truth, but not everyone listened. Far away, in a proud and dangerous part of space, lived the Varnock Empire, a brutal race that believed in strength above all. They laughed at stories of living planets and thinking soil. To them, Earth was just another target, another world to conquer. Emperor Kor of the Varnock slammed his fist on the war table. "So the Krell failed," he growled. "So what? They were weak. We are not." One of his generals tried to speak. "But my emperor, even the first ones left Earth untouched." Kor's eyes glowed red. "Then we will succeed where all others failed. We will burn Earth to Ashand, claim its power for ourselves." And so began Operation Black Sun, a fleet of 300 Varnak warships, each one loaded with weapons meant to crack planets in half. They sent no warnings. They just came, Captain. Dravik heard about the Varnock fleet from a listening post near the neutral zone. His hands trembled. "They're making a mistake," he whispered. The human commander beside him nodded. "They think Earth is a planet. But it's not, is it?" Dravik looked at the blue orb on the screen. "No," he said quietly. "It's a memory that can fight back." The Varnock fleet entered Earth's orbit at full speed. No defenses greeted them. The sky was quiet. General Threx, leading the fleet, opened a direct channel to Earth. "This is the Varnak Empire," he said with pride. "You are now under our control, Nilor Dai." There was no reply, only silence. He smiled. Fire. 3 ships launched Planet Cracker's giant bombs that could turn continents into dust. But as they fell, they stopped, mid-dash air, frozen like time itself had grabbed them. Then, without a sound, the bombs turned and flew back toward the Varnak fleet. One ship exploded, then another and another. Panic spread. Alarm screamed. "It's impossible," shouted a Varnak technician. "They didn't use weapons?" "The planet's hits moving the gravity, the air, the very space around us." One by one, ships vanished, pulled into clouds that weren't clouds, swallowed by light that came from nowhere. The Varnak had brought war, but Earth brought something. Worse fear on the surface. The sky turned red, not from fire, from memory. The cities projected the past. Into the air, millions of screams from every war. Children crying, forests burning. Blood in the rivers. It wasn't just shown, it was felt. The Varnak soldiers who landed dropped their weapons. Clutching their heads, they saw the faces of their own victims. They heard every cry they had caused. Across the stars, they fell to their knees. And then they vanished. Emperor Kor, safe on his command ship, roared with rage. "What is this sorcery? This is not real." But the air turned cold. A voice whispered from nowhere, yet everywhere. "You were warned." Kor froze. A face appeared before him. Not human, not alien. It was Earth itself, speaking through memory and light. "We are not yours. We are not afraid. We remember." Kor tried to fire the last missile, but the button melted under his hand. His ship turned inward. The walls closed like a mouth. The last thing he saw was his own reflection, full of fear. Then, silence. Dravik and the human commander watched the fleet disappear from their station. "All gone," the human said softly. Dravik closed his eyes. "They never understood," he said. "Earth doesn't kill out of hate. It protects. It remembers. It gives warnings. And if you don't listen, you join the memory," Dravik whispered. Now across the stars, Earth was no longer a mystery. It was a force, a guardian, a living planet with a soul full of scars and a heart, full of silence. But there was one more secret still waiting in its soil. ... And someone was digging for it. Earth was quiet again. The sky was calm. The cities stood tall. The planet looked normal, almost peaceful, but deep inside, something was changing, far below the surface. Past the bones of ancient cities, past the glowing roots of Earth's memory, there was a chamber that had never been opened until now. It pulsed once softly. Then, again, something old had awakened. At the edge of the galaxy, Captain Dravik stood in a human science base. Scientists, soldiers, and diplomats from many species were now working together not to control Earth, but to understand it. Dravik looked at the live feed from Earth's deep core sensors. A red light was blinking. "It's moving again," said a human researcher. "What's moving?" asked Dravik. She looked at the screen, her face pale. "The thing buried in Earth's core. We think... it's alive." Dravik's heart sank. "You told me Earth was the mind. Are you saying it also has a heart?" The researcher nodded slowly. "Yes, and it's beating." Deep underground, a small team of human explorers in armored suits moved through a glowing tunnel. They weren't soldiers. They were Earth-born scientists trained to walk through strange places. One of them, Dr. Alara Jean, was a geopsychologist, someone who studied living planets. "This tunnel wasn't here yesterday," she whispered. Walls glowed like glass. Symbols floated inside the stone. Words, faces, memories. They reached the bottom of the tunnel. Before them stood a door, not metal. It's not stone, but something that looked like woven light. It had no handle, no lock. It simply opened. The team stepped inside. The chamber was vast. At its center was a giant sphere, black, smooth, humming with slow energy. Around it floated images. Galaxies. Stars, dying worlds, forgotten civilizations. A voice filled the room, not from speakers, from the walls. The air. This is the core of memory. This is where Earth keeps the first truth. Dr. Jean stepped forward. What truth? The voice replied, why we remember. The black sphere cracked open slowly, revealing something inside. It was a body, not human, not alien. It was ancient, and it was still alive at the surface. Panic spread, the sensors went wild. The planet's crust began to shake, not in violence, but in rhythm, a heartbeat. Captain Dravik watched the data. It's not an earthquake, that's a signal. The human commander beside him spoke carefully. Earth is trying to speak again, but this time, it's not about defense. It's about origin. Dravik's eyes widened. Origin. The commander nodded. I think Earth is trying to show us where all this began. Back in the chamber, the being inside the sphere opened its eyes. They were pure white, glowing like stars. It looked at Dr. Jean. You are children of soil and time, it said. We came here before time began. We shaped this planet, gave it memory. Then we left. Why? Dr. Jean asked. The being smiled softly. Because you were not ready. She stepped closer, and now you are almost ready. But others still come to destroy. So Earth has protected you, and has grown stronger than we ever planned. Dr. Jean whispered. Is Earth still a planet? The being paused, then it said, no, it is now a seed. And it is almost ready to bloom. Outside, stars flickered. Not because of war, but because something massive was coming. A fleet. Planet. No. A being. A creature so big. It swallowed light. It had awakened, and it was looking for the one thing it feared, Earth. Captain Dravik stood in the control room, heart pounding. It's not over, he said. The human commander looked at the screen. No. He agreed. The real enemy is coming, and Earth is the only one that can stop it. The stars were fading. One by one they disappeared from the sky, not because they died, but because something huge was moving between them. A shadow across the galaxy. A creature so old, so large, that even time seemed to bend around it. Its name was never spoken. It had no face, no body, only hunger. It had eaten planets. It had swallowed suns. Now it had found Earth, on the human space station near Mars. Alarms were silent, not because they were broken, but because there was no warning loud enough. Captain Dravik stood with the human commander and the science team. Everyone was watching the same screen. A dark shape moved through space. Coming closer. It's not a fleet, whispered the commander. It's alive. Dravik stepped forward. What does it want? The scientist answered with shaking hands. It wants memory. It eats minds. It erases everything. No history, no pain, no love. Just emptiness. Dravik looked at the blue planet on the screen. Earth won't allow it. On Earth, the winds stopped. The oceans became still. The sky turned silver. Across every city, mountain, and desert, the ground began to glow. Not with fire, but with energy. The voice of Earth whispered again, we have protected. We have remembered. But now we must choose. Do we hide or do we fight? The deep chamber, the ancient being from the core looked at Dr. Jane. You are the last voice Earth will hear before it decides, it said. Speak. Dr. Geen felt the weight of every memory, every battle, every loss. She placed her hand on the glowing stone beside her and spoke simply. Don't run, don't hide. Show it what Earth is. The chamber pulsed once. Then everything went silent above. Earth, the shadow arrived. Massive, cold. Endless. It opened not with teeth, but with gravity. It pulled at everything, ships, moons, light, thoughts. But Earth did not move. Instead, it rose. The skies above split open, and from the heart of Earth came something new. Not a ship, not a weapon. A being made of soil, water, memory, and thought. a living form of the planet itself, tall as the clouds. Eyes full of every war, every scream. Every birth, it stepped into space. The stars lit up around it. Earth had decided it would fight the shadow. Struck first. It sent waves of nothingness, pure silence meant to erase thought. But Earth's memory fought back. It sent visions, every soul that had lived, every name that had died, every truth. The shadow screamed without sound. Rhine. To cover it all in darkness, but Earth was louder. It burned with the voices of billions. I am not just rock. I'm not just sky. I am every voice that ever lived. The two forces collided, not with fire, but with feeling. The shadow tried to pull Earth into forgetfulness. Earth answered with love, with loss, with memory, and then light exploded. It washed over the stars. Silence broke, and when the dust faded, the shadow was gone. Nothing left, not even its memory, because Earth had done the impossible. It erased the thing that erased on the space station. Dravik and the others looked at the sky. The stars had returned. The planet below glowed softly, blue and green as always, but something was different now. It had grown. It had chosen. Earth was no longer just defending itself. It had become a guardian of memory for the entire galaxy. A message was sent from Earth. No voice, no name, just one final warning, written across space. I protect life. I remember all. Come in peace, or not at all. And from that day on, no empire, no army, no creature dared to attack again, because they knew what waited for them. A world that remembers, a mind that never sleeps, a planet that had turned into something more, Earth.